Humans of the cardboard, welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. Today we need to talk about ninjas. We got their new support. We've been over that. We talked about them prior to the support and what I wanted to see. So now I want to put it all together and talk about where I think ninjas are post this support. Are they good enough? What did they get that I liked? What did they not get that I liked, that I would have liked? And where do they need to go from here? What future support do they need from this point that would actually raise them up to like a respectable level? We're going to talk about all of that today. But first we need to go through what we actually have for the archetype. We've got some good ninja cards to start. These are the ones that I would say are like actually relevant. Hanzo, obviously, this is the best ninja card. It always will be the best ninja card. It even has potential future ban list implications, depending on how things shake out with future support. Next up, we have Jogan. Interesting little extender. It does require you to have a ninjutsu art card in hand, but that's not always the hardest thing to do. It just makes me wish that stuff like Saizo maybe added ninjutsu art cards to hand instead of setting them directly to the field. But other than that, like this card is an okay extender. Definitely could see play in builds. And then that's it for the main deck, really. Moving to extra X stuff, Saizo, absolutely awesome card. Free +1 every single turn. Protects himself. Really cool card. Hidden Village, mediocre. I thought this card was way better when it first came out, but listen, field spells in modern day Yu-Gi-Oh! You gotta be a starter. You gotta get you to your engine. This is just a follow-up / protection card, which is nice, but it ain't enough, man. It's like maybe a one of in the deck for like scenarios where you already have a setup and you just want to add protection to it. And then you have Notebook. This searches you ninjutsu art, spell, and traps, but you have to have a specific discard for it, and it's a 1-for-1, not even a +1, so it's meh. It's an okay card. Then we get to the traps. This is like where the deck is like really good. I would say Saizo and Hanzo are probably the two best cards, but there's a handful of pretty good traps. Duplication, summoning multiple small ninjas straight from the deck is really good. Shadow Sealing, being able to rip a monster off your opponent's field by banishing it, really good. Super Transformation, summoning a beast, wing beast, or insect straight from deck, pretty good. And then Super Transformation, summoning a dragon, dinosaur, sea serpent, but also removes a monster from your opponent's field, even better. All these are decent, but like the downside is obviously like tributes a monster, tributes a monster, tributes a monster, tributes a monster. You have to tribute ninjas, means you have to put ninjas on the board to even make them live. That's not super ideal. But, you know, there's still decent effects when they resolve at the end of the day. So getting into the new support, Green Ninja's the new V-Jump promo. Pretty interesting extender. I don't like that it has to flip something face down when it summons itself. That's the unfortunate side, so it doesn't help you to like just straight up summon him and then just kind of help you get into Saizo as an extender, but still okay. Other than that, I love that when he's sent from hand or field to grave, he Book of Moons a monster. So being able to send him or tribute him from field on the opponent's turn does give you an extra Book of Moon as interruption, which is pretty cool. So I do like him for that. Yeah, he's pretty decent. I don't hate him. Then we get to all the other new cards from Darkwing Blast. This guy sucks. He pitches himself to hand to summon a ninja from hand. If he summoned from deck, I would literally cry over a starter like this. Deck absolutely needs help in the starter department. Mitsu is an awesome extender that also provides you a potential monster negate. Really, really awesome. This is one of the awesome cards. We'll see. This will be played ninjas for years to come. Baku, pretty cool recursion card and extender, but he's one of those extenders where he's kind of like Lilybell. When he's added to hand, he summons himself from hand and then adds a ninja card from like grave to hand. Decent card, but he's one of those cards, don't want to see him in the hand. It feels like ninjas have a lot of cards you don't want to draw, which is where I come to the point again, like kind of need more starters in the deck. Feels like there's not a ton of ninja cards in the archetype that you actually want to open. This card's poop. I'm not even going to talk about this card. Then we get to this guy. Probably the like most impactful card we got for the new support. May not be that for like the right now build, but I think like at the end of the day, as we go further and further and ninjas get more support, this card will be like the centerpiece of the deck. It's pretty cool. You can contact fuse him with any two ninjas on the field, and when your opponent activates an effect, he summons a ninja straight from the deck. So good. Summoning ninjas on either player's turn is anytime your opponent tries to activate an effect is so good. The downside of him, I would say, is we just don't have great ninjas to summon right now, specifically on the opponent's turn. We have some ninjas we can summon to our field that like kind of get us a lot of resources rotated, and like that's cool to play the resource game, but there is literally not a single good ninja that we can summon on our opponent's turn that will offer good disruption. The best I can think of is like summoning out Green Ninja, but if you don't also have like a ninjutsu art to tribute him, it's not even going to matter summoning Green Ninja. So I don't like it's reliant like that. I'd like to see another ninja monster that we could just summon and immediately offer interruption, or like a floodgate effect or something. But until we see it, you know, we're just riding right now as a resource engine. Then we get to the spells. Cool removal spell. This also makes the deck more interesting with something like I Sold as a link monster to be able to like get a bunch of resources moving as well. This card's pretty cool. Next up, this card. This card's kind of like Urgent Schedule from Trains, except way slower. It sets cards, and one of them comes from Grave. So it has a similar vibe when you read it as Urgent Schedule, but it's just not nearly as good. Urgent Schedule immediately threatens your opponent, whereas this card does not. You know, so I think this card probably won't see a ton of play. And then this card. This card's actually really good as well. Tribute a ninja to summon a ninja from the deck. And then it can also bounce itself or another ninjutsu art card to your hand on another turn. So it kind of just lets you like reload ninjutsu arts to be reset, which is really cool. I like this card quite a bit. Again, I would say this, Ninjutsu Art of Duplication, and the War Ninja, the fusion guy, all offer us really good ways of summoning ninjas on the opponent's turn, but we just don't have a good target for it on the opponent's turn. You could argue Green Ninja, but again, it requires you to have another ninjutsu art card set. And if you don't, you are screwed. Sucks to say. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at on the new stuff. I think we'll see like some, maybe not super trap heavy builds, but you got to play enough ninjutsu art cards. Kind of like, I kind of get Trap Tricks vibes from this deck right now. It's not going to be super offensive. You're probably trying to do like these weird little combos with a deck that doesn't have quite enough pieces to be a full-on combo deck, but you kind of dig into your deck to get your inherent like trap cards, kind of like Trap Tricks likes to do. But I don't know. It's a weird deck at the moment. It feels incomplete. It feels like we're missing like probably 2 starter cards, probably another really good extender, and then I would say just like a payoff for all these really good effects that summon on the opponent's turn. I'd love to see 2 different cards that function off of that, but like it kind of just depends. If I could be really greedy, I'd love to see a ninja that really it doesn't even have to do much of anything else, but just say if this card's summoned by the effect of a ninja or ninjutsu art card, target 2 cards on the field and destroy them. Or target up to 2 cards on the field and destroy them. Something like that. Like maybe Pop 2 is asking a lot. Maybe it's target 1, but maybe if it's target 1, maybe it's banish it instead of just destroy it. Something like that would be amazing. I'd love to see a good extender. Mitsu is great. Baku is a conditional extender. He's only really extender if he's added off of something else. I still think he's nice to have in the deck because he is still a +1 at the end of the day, but again, not a card you want to draw. You want to see Mitsu because she just extends really simply. If you draw Baku, it's not great. It's really not great. So outside of Hanzo, it almost feels like the deck doesn't have another starter aside from Hanzo. And that's just not where we want to be. So I'd like to see 1 or 2 more starters for the deck. Maybe it's a Searcher. Maybe it's a Ninja. Like I said, with Tobari. If he discarded to summon a Ninja from deck, we'd be cooking. But because he summons from hand, he's pretty cheek straight up. So don't love that, but if we got something like that, emergency teleport, but like not broken, you can even lock you into ninjas for the rest of the turn, super lock you into ninjas, and you can at least go into a Saizo War Ninja Maizen play, and that could get the job done for sure at times. But yeah, 2 starters, a good extender, a really good target, maybe even 2 to summon out of the deck that have like decent on-field effects. Maybe one has a little floodgate effect. It's not broken, but like solid, and the other one has, you know, a removal when it's summoned. That would be really nice. And the last thing would probably just be no, I guess that's mostly it. Maybe another extra deck monster. Feels like we don't have a legit boss monster in the archetype. You summon a lot of little guys, you play the control game a lot, but you don't really have a legit boss monster. Maizen's more of like an engine card that gets you cards out of your engine, out of your deck, but doesn't actually like pose a super threat. So maybe like a boss monster, whether it be a Link 3 maybe, or a maybe like a main deck monster that extends itself on the field, pretty easy to get out. I don't know. Maybe that could be the guy that removes cards. Like, he would be your target off of the new trap that just summons a ninja straight from deck to be able to like pop 2 cards. And then maybe he has another effect that gets you a resource. Something like that would be awesome. So I don't know. Those are just my thoughts. I'm sorry if they're a little bit all over the place. I love this deck. It's one of my favorite decks of all time. I just think it's has some of the coolest designs. It's a warrior deck. I know Konami will come back to it at some point. I'm really hoping that since we just got 9 cards of support, technically, that Konami's not going to just ignore this deck for like 5 more years like they just did, until they feel like they have to give it support again. Because I don't feel like they're there yet. I feel like this is I think this is a tier 3 deck. I think it has some really high ceiling plays, but it's not nearly consistent enough to do them all the time. And I think the deck has to play too many bricks to kind of make what they want to do happen. And in these mid-range board states, if they could just make Maizen pass after like baiting multiple hand traps, that could win you duels if Maizen had a ninja that could interrupt. But because he doesn't, you probably just lose in those scenarios. So that's a huge thing as well. Not really being able to function that great in mid-range board states is a big problem, and that would be fixed really hugely if Maizen had a good target. So yeah, those are my thoughts all in all on ninjas. Tier 3 for now, no better than that. It's just in that giant pool of just not consistent enough decks that have decent ceiling, but like still need some cards to pull it all together. But that's where I'm at. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts, especially if you are a long-time Ninja player. Please let me know how you feel about ninjas post this new support and what else they need. If Konami's going to give them more support down the line, love to hear your thoughts on that. Thank you so much. Otherwise, I am out of here for today. Subscribe if you haven't. Follow me on Twitter, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.